Alright, in this demonstration I'm going to show you this plugin here, and this plugin is called Morph-Texture. As you can see, I got the buttons loaded down here already. I got a similar plugin in another video for this Morph-Polypaint. These are very similar, but one's got more advantage than the other one, or one can do different things than the other one can do. So with that said, what we're going to do is here we're going to create a visualized texture map. Alright, for us to do this, first we're going to set the geometry up. The reason why I'm doing this is because later on I can convert this over to the polypaint. So we need a little bit higher subdivision. For right now I'm just going to set it to 4. Alright, we need to go down to the map, and we might want to increase that right here. So I'll select here 2048. Then we're going to create this visual map. So when I select it, there's going to be a map that's going to be created. And if you notice, the subdivision went down to 1 is because the reason why is because we're going to be painting with texture, and this makes it a lot easier in the machine because we don't have a lot of polygons. Polypaint, you gotta have a lot of polygons, and it will slow down the computer a little bit. And we're only going to use polypaint when we need it. So when we morph this from this is the visual texture. You'll see the visual texture here in a second, and that's the structure of this face that it created here. Now if it's a little too dark for you, you can go up to the texture, and we're going to use this. You can use any of these colors and change colors up. Just experiment with it. I'm going to change the secondary color. It's black. I'm going to lighten it up a little bit. I'm going to create another texture map for this. Alright, as you can see, it's brightening it up quite a bit. And the reason why this thing, I'll move it back down, scale it. And the reason why this thing jumps towards you like this is because the closer this mesh is, when you we're going to use the projection master, the better the texture transfer will apply without getting distorted. If the mesh is flattened out, I've been having a problem with the zap link. It works fine like this, but if it's morphed out like this, there's a problem. If I can fix it, I will, but that'll be to this plugin here. So keep an eye on the versions. I'm on version A. If I do a bug fix, it'll go to version B. So make sure you got the current version. So once we got our texture right here, we're going to use the projection master. We'll switch this over here. We'll add a little texture. Guess up on his forehead would be fine. And we're going to project it. You can see we can morph it. Now you can, when it's morphed out like this, the mesh is kind of sprawled out, and it kind of does push it back. If you need to scale it up a little bit, you can. You'll get a little bit better transfer. So if I was wanting to see, now I'm able to paint his mouth when it's all flattened out like this. If it's all closed up, I wouldn't be able to do that. As an example, we'll select here. Let me get a different alpha, get a color here. Project it back on. So when I morph it, you'll see I painted inside the mouth, and you couldn't do that if it's out like this when it's all closed up. Another thing is, when I morph it, more that I paint on this, the more it'll erase the structure of the visualize map that I'm seeing here. So as an example, when I paint on it, just paint with a different color here. You can see it's starting to race around the eyes, and I can't see them and can't see it no more. And what you can do is you can go down to the displacement map and turn the displacement on. This will let you be able to see what you're doing. And Control Z works. You want to go back, so there's no problem there. Alright, now if I want to transfer this texture and go into polypaint mode, we'll press this button here. Polypaint from the texture. It's going to create polypaint from the texture like it says, or vice versa. You can click this button more than once, so when we click it, the subdivision is going to go up, and you are in polypaint mode. Press the button again to enter texture mode. So the subdivision's up, and we can paint on it like this, and we are in polypaint mode. And like I said, this kind of slows the computer down, and I'm only going to use this when I need it. Now if I want to transfer this back to a texture, we can press this button again, which will convert it back to a texture, or this will do it, but it won't do it with a morph. Or you can do the same thing if you press this button, but this will morph it. So if I pressed here, you can see you are in texture mode. Press the button again to enter polypaint mode. Okay, that did it without morphing. So let's switch it back and I'll show you again with the different button. Okay, we're back in polypaint mode. Let's add a little more down here, and this time we'll morph with texture. Like I said, this only morphs with text in, and it's going to knock you out of polypaint mode. And there's your texture map right there. And just do one more in polypaint mode. And we'll morph that back. Alright, we're going to go into the next step. Alright, you notice if I go to the subtools here, we got subtools in here. We got the eyes and stuff like that. And we are also going to need to create a texture map for that. So you can select here to create one for that. And if you alt click, you can see right here, if I alt click and get over the eyes here, when I do, you'll see some text up here to let you know what I'm selecting. Just say switching to the eye tool here, and you can see everything update here. So if I select the head, the texture will update here. Alright, I'm going to repeat the process real quick, or just go over it. First thing you need to do is go ahead and set some UVs up for this, and the UV master is really great for this. lower the geometry, and we're going to boost this up. You want to boost it kind of high due to the video. I'm not going to boost it too high. 4 should be fine. We'll go down to the map here, and we're going to make it 2048. If you don't select any of these, by default I think it'll make it 1024 by 1024, so we'll select here, and then we're going to create a texture map. This little pop-up will come up. You really don't select nothing, it's just in the script. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to do some projection on this. We're going to do double side on this. And let's go with a little texture right here. Drag rect. Let's go with this one here. And maybe one for the tail. And we'll project that on there. This guy here, he's got UV islands to it. We can morph this. And if there's certain parts of this area that I want to, you can Control Shift click and work just in that area, and when you're done you can hide it. So let's go ahead and morph this back, and let's say that I wanted to go into polypaint mode. Polypaint mode. Subdivision is, it'll let you know the subdivision went up, as you can see over here. And we're going to go paint a little texture on this guy here. And if we're decided we want to go back out of polypaint mode, we can select here. Like I said, this won't morph it, or you can select here. So let's select here. You are in texture mode, and you can usually tell because this guy will move around real easy. With polypaint mode, with all that geometry, it moves a little bit slow. Anyway, I think this is going to wrap it up on this part, and thank you very much.